The big story from the Arizona Cardinals loss to the Detroit Lions yesterday was missed opportunities. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Clancy's Corner finally got the Twitter back. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. Here's the thing, man. It wasn't as bad as it looked, and it also wasn't as good as it looked. I'll discuss that throughout the show. Kyler criticism, yes, there are some. What are the positives? Yes, there are some. But the majority of yesterday was a present wrapped in missed opportunities for the Cardinals. The Cardinals 100% could have won that game yesterday, and I think that's the most frustrating part, but also the most understandable. I'll get into it here. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Cardinals lose 20-13 to the team that made the NFC Championship game last year, to the team that is a year plus ahead in roster construction that are the Detroit Lions. It's not an excuse. It's not a reason. It's just a fact. And what we saw from the Cardinals yesterday were a couple staples. One, they were ready to play. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Just like week one last year when they had no talent across the team. They showed up with that same rigorous attitude yesterday. And it showed. More times than not. So that's good. That's a positive. And sure, it's a layup. I'll take a layup on a Monday. I didn't do this. I didn't record the show, as you've noticed, last night because I couldn't really put together what I'd seen yet. There was a lot of everything and a whole lot of nothing all wrapped into one. So I needed to take the night, needed to get some tweets out, needed to just center myself. And then come on today and just, discuss it more. So missed opportunities. First, missed opportunity. The biggest potential missed opportunity, which I couldn't understand more than everything. After the Dennis Gardeck interception, the Cardinals played very, very conservative and ended up going for it on fourth down instead of kicking a field goal. And that surprised me more than everything else in the game. So Jared Goff gets intercepted by Dennis Gardeck on the line side of the field. Dennis Gardeck returns at 10 yards to the Detroit Lions' 33-yard line. Okay, scoring position down 10. And what I can't understand is how conservative the Cardinals were with that series. So they had the ball on the Lions 33. They're down 20-10. Kyler Murray had just thrown an interception. I'll discuss that next. And not only were they 4 run plays in a row, none of them were James Conner. So while I understand getting Trey Benson on the field is important, he had a nice chunk run of 5 or 6 to get it to second and short. He couldn't get in second down. They gave it to Amari DeMarcado on third and short. I believe it was 4 and 1, fourth and 1 or fourth and 2. And then Kyler on the outside, his shin went down before he extended the ball past the first down marker. So a couple things I don't really understand. While it was a missed opportunity, a big one, especially 20-10 game, the Cardinals had kicked a field goal to go down 20-10 at halftime to shrink the gap. They get the ball. Kyler Murray throws an interception. I'll talk about that in a second. And then they get an interception, and you falter there where you need points. That's something that baffles me. I discussed a lot this offseason. It's going to be fascinating to see what the Cardinals' theory is behind going for it on 4th and 1, 4th and short, or taking points. And there's both sides of the coin. One, you take the points, it makes it easier on the defense. 2, you go for it, you get it. You extend drives, better chance to score a touchdown, makes it easier on the defense. For me, I'm in take the points mode pretty much for the rest of the year. It was very quick for me. Now, obviously, situations are different if the Cardinals are down late in the game, extenuating circumstances, but interception, momentum. Down 20-10, already in field goal range. Run. It would have been a 45-yard field goal for Matt Brady. You cut it to 2013, completely different game. Jared Goff gave them a gift, and they sputtered it. That's one thing I was like, the majority of the time. Last year, I gave Drew Petzing, kudos for allowing an offense to actually exist with Josh Dobbs at quarterback before Kyler Murray came back. They were, towards the top of the NFL in measurables when Kyler Murray did come back, and he was, a couple games in. So I've been Drew Petzing. I've been champion Drew Petzing. I didn't understand that. I didn't get it. Didn't make sense to me. It didn't compute. Run a play action on second down. Run a play action on third down. If you're going to go for it on fourth down anyways, you may as well get creative. It was so boring, and it was so disheartening when you're at home in a game that's winnable, and that's the series you put out when you're given a gift possession after Kyler Murray turned the ball over 2 series earlier. I don't understand it. I would throw on first down there. Keep the momentum going. You've got Trey McBride. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got Michael Wilson, who had a great day yesterday. You've got Greg Dortch, who's slippery from the slot. And the offensive line was playing great. I don't understand why there's not more creativity involved. This is going to be a bigger conversation. And yes, this is the opposite of what I said going into the season. But I did give the caveat, and I'm not going full bore the other side just because they lost a game at home against a team that made an NFC Championship game last year. We're starting to see Marvin Harrison Jr. already ready. So it changes things a little bit. That baffled me. The second one, the Kyler Murray, Hail Mary interception, where he threw it up into double coverage for Marvin Harrison Jr. He's been very efficient so far this year. Okay, I'm going to talk about the criticisms, just the bigger stuff. Yes, it's one interception in one game. This is not the bigger stuff. But one thing was made abundantly clear, and this is the true definition of missed opportunities, because plural opportunities. Marvin Harrison Jr. ain't catching half the balls that Kyler Murray throws to him. So one thing that I put on Twitter, and remember, at Clancy's Corner, got it back. Sorry, it's been a long 6 months. Some of you, that's, you're welcome for the reprieve. The timing routes aren't just going to happen. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson is a top 3 receiver for me of all time. I loved him. The back shoulder throws is where they ate. Timing routes is where they ate. You know how long they had to practice for that? You know how bad Devontae Adams of a wide receiver he was when he came into the league? It was just practice with Aaron Rodgers. It's going to take more than 3 games for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray to get on the absolute, don't even have to think about it, same page. And it's never more prevalent or potent with the antithesis of that than these timing routes, or Kyler Murray just throwing the ball up, hoping Marvin Harrison Jr. can go get it. Okay? I think he's just excited that he's got a 6'3" receiver on the outside who has made incredible plays already, and he just gives him a chance to do it again. The interception is the kind of the microcosm of it, but it was the entirety of the game. Don't throw those balls with the consistency that he is until you guys have it down. Throw maybe 1 or 2 a game to where it's only he or the DB will go get, and the DB ain't getting it when it's not double coverage. That's one thing that missed opportunity-wise. The interception one was right before the other. So you come out, you get a field goal to end the half. Then Kyler Murray comes down, they're marching down. They get I think it was a pass interference call. Marvin Harrison Jr. has a chunk gain. They're in field goal range, and Kyler Murray throws an interception into the end zone, trying to win the game on one play. It was a missed opportunity. That's where you need to be a little bit more metronome and just get more yards, get close, get a first down, and then take your shots. And then right after that, the Dennis Gardeck interception compounded it when they didn't get points there either. It could have been a tie game, but they flipped how they should have been calling the plays. You should have been a little more conservative first drive, and then maybe throw the ball after you get this gift. That's what teams do. They take shots right after getting a turnover. They take shots into the end zone. They take shots for chunk gains. chunk gains, trick play, something like that to keep the momentum going. And the Cardinals did the opposite of what they should have done in both those series. And then it inevitably cost them the game. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. What are the positives? There were some, and there was a large chunk of them because even though the Cardinals lost and it was ugly, they played well for a good portion or majority of this game, aside from some key spots. I'll highlight them next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends, ours at DoorDash. Hello, the NFL season started, and you know that you don't have to leave your house to get food or booze if you're over 21 delivered, right? You set up, you got Sunday Ticket open, you got no snacks. You didn't think ahead. Busy work week. That's where DoorDash comes into play. Download the app, okay? And you can just search for the hundreds of restaurants that you maybe didn't even know existed or you didn't know delivered through DoorDash. And DoorDash is that liaison to get you food, boop, dropped to your front door. It's never been easier to get food and booze if you're over 21 delivered. Use promo code LOCKEDFALL24 for 50% off, up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. Limited time offer, terms apply. Promo is not valid for orders containing alcohol. Keep that in mind. DoorDash, your door to game day success, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites. Must be 21 plus to order alcohol. Drink responsibly. Alcohol available only in select markets. So while overall, the Cardinals, it's a frustrating one because if the Cardinals can put together a couple drives there, you're in this game. They when I say, and then one thing, a little disclaimer, little reminder of my thoughts because I do host this podcast. I can give my thoughts. Don't blame refs. In my opinion, and I don't mean this like, you're a loser. No, it's a losing mindset mentality to blame things that are out of your control. The Cardinals should have won this game. Okay. There wasn't a call here. There wasn't a call there. If you blame refs, I think that's dumb. Still love you, everydayers. Still love you. I think it's dumb. Don't blame refs. It is a losing mindset. And the Cardinals 100% should have won this game. The positives. Do we start with the most positive? It's a tie. But the most positive with the most to lose yesterday was the offensive line. The offensive line has been a vision. Even with Jackson Barton playing right tackle. No Kelvin Beachum, no Jonah Williams. The offensive line held Aidan Hutchinson to one sack. It was towards the end of the game. Kyler Murray had a clean jersey. The offensive line has been incredible this season. Incredible. You can look at Pro Football Focus ratings. You can't. You do. You don't. Look at what Kyler Murray, the timing he's had in the pocket. It was a vision watching the offensive line yesterday. Should not be understated one iota. Because here's the thing. Yes, the offense wasn't great. And yes, Kyler Murray's got some looking in the mirror to do. And it's not grave. It's not anything big. I'll discuss that highlighted in the next segment. If the offensive line holds up like that against that front seven, they can hold up against any front in the NFL. Notice in the positives, you won't get the rush attack here. Pass protection was fantastic. James Conner looked not great. Not great. Kyler Murray led the team in rushing with 45 yards. Trey Benson, not great. I think it's more of a one-off than anything. That's why I'm not really highlighting this. We can talk about it later if it's something to worry about or not. The offensive line looked fantastic. Only matched by the intestinal fortitude of the defense to hold up. Yes, 200 yards rushing. That's a lot. That's a lot. Jared Goff didn't throw for 200 yards. They got the interception. They were making it difficult for Jared Goff to operate. And it looks different when you're grading on a scale. You're grading on a curve. The Cardinals got a 63% yesterday in their calculus test, but it was graded on a curve as such to where they got an 85. Because what we're looking at talent-wise far underwhelms the story of how well they played. Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, ball hawks. Again, extend Budda Baker. I don't understand why we have to keep having this conversation. Maybe I'm just talking to myself. I don't think people are already out on him. I don't know how you look at the first 3 games this year and say anything other than 3 should be wearing an Arizona Cardinals uniform until he retires. I don't understand it. The offensive line and the defense were massive positives. Massive positives. And again, the offensive line had a lot more to deal with that front seven. Aidan Hutchinson was pretty much held at bay. He got a couple pressures. He got behind the line of scrimmage once. They gave him the full sack. I mean, it was him and somebody else. Kyler Murray pretty much laid down in the pocket. But Paris Johnson Jr. played fine. He got beat by Aidan Hutchinson bad. Once. But if you tell me that's the offensive line that's going to be playing in front of Kyler Murray, and then Jonah Williams or Kelvin Beachum comes back and plays right tackle, this offense is going to be able to operate. Will they operate? That's the question. The ability for the Cardinals to be given the opportunity to operate on offense is predicated solely upon the offensive line. That's where it starts. That's the roots. And they did yesterday. And the Cardinals offense failed them. Another positive, Marvin Harrison Jr. looked fine. He looked fine. I think 5 of 11 targets. Like the jump ball's got to go. I'll talk about that in the next segment. But Michael Wilson, game ball from the wide receiver room. 8 catches, 70 yards. Trey McBride, I don't know what's going on. He went head-to-head with Brian Branch. Not head-to-head. They knocked heads when Trey McBride was going down after a catch. It was in concussion protocol. We'll see. I mean, it's still Monday. We've got a ways to go before Washington on Sunday. But the positives, the offensive line and the defense. And again, you're grading on a curve on the defensive side of the ball. But what we saw, again, from Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon is these dudes are ready to play. They're going to bang. They're going to hit hard. Mac Wilson looks like the Kazir White signing from last year. It's the same thing. Mac Wilson's been great. And another couple tackles for losses yesterday. The dude has been great. Him and Kazir White look like the strongest tandem right behind Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson on the defensive side of the ball. They're set and forget at this point. It's fantastic. The Cardinals have played 2 of the toughest offenses in football. And yes, they've given up 54 points in those games. Could have been a lot worse. And one of them was 30-34 to Buffalo in week 1. So moving forward for the rest of the year, while the Cardinals lost, encouragement is there. And these aren't green ribbon trophies that I gave out all year last year and happily, and I wouldn't take anything back. It gives enough. This is going to be tough film for the Cardinals to watch. But it's going to be very eye-opening to what needs to happen. A couple tweaks need to happen. I'm now in camp of kick field goals. Take points. There's an epidemic around the NFL where you got to go for it on 4th down. Kick field goals. Take points. Can win ball games. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Kyler criticisms. Yep. Next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a bunch or a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check to see the latest stats, view live play-by-play. So much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you play your first $5 bet. Like the stats and the live play-by-play on the app that allows you to be more informed before you play some cheese down, it's unmatched. And again, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you play your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, man. If you want to go leave a review where reviews are left, cool. I'm just happy that you're here. Everydayers, leave in the comments how you feel. You can DM me on Twitter again, at Clancy's Corner. Finally, being able to reconnect with people. It's awesome. Kyler criticisms. Give a couple quick goods. The touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. was chef's kiss. He looked composed. Okay. He looked composed in the pocket. Just because he's more quick twitch doesn't mean he's nervous or stressed when he has the ball. He had more time than he knew what to do with yesterday. The offense just wasn't clicking. Got to stop throwing the Hail Mary balls with as much potency as he does. He just rocks back, chucks it up in the air, and hopes the receiver can go get it. And while it's not that, Wild West, he sees a target, he sees a potential advantage, and he hucks it. And Kyler Murray is at his best when he's not doing that. Now, keep in mind, before Christian Kirk left, and this shows what longevity will do, just 2 seasons in, he had that he had that timing route down with Christian Kirk. A lot of times it was for a touchdown. A lot of times it was right by the pylon. And it was great. He doesn't have that with any of these guys yet. 3 games with Marvin Harrison Jr. 10 with Michael Wilson. More with Greg Dortch. But I think the struggle in lies him trying to, and people have said this, I'm not, this isn't profound, but this is what's been said. This is why I took a day to do the podcast. I kind of wanted to, he's trying to win the game in one play. And instead of just paper cutting your way through a defense, he's trying to machete or sledgehammer. And while there is room for that, it's not something that should be expected by a defense. It's very Kliff Kingsbury-ish. Kind of gave me flashbacks. It's the fastest way to get a 3 and out is to just throw bombs and take up one of the downs. You got to put your defense in a better position to succeed than that. The Lions were on the field for 36 minutes yesterday. The Cardinals defense, the fact they only give up 20 points is bananas. It's bonkers. That's on Kyler Murray. The other thing, the criticism is he didn't run the ball in the second half. Like, if the offense is stalled and James Conner is averaging under 2 yards a carry and none of the other running backs are working. Now, I don't know if this is Drew Petzing thing, if they want to keep him safe. He did take a couple hits. I would understand, but there is no better weapon to catch a defense off guard from a stale position where the Cardinals were on offense. They only scored 3 points in the second half. The only 3 points scored in the second half, I believe. Isn't that insane? Cardinals blanked the Lions in the second half. Huh? With this defense? There's no better weapon in the Cardinals' arsenal to catch opposing defenses off guard from a stale state, which is where the Cardinals' offense was, the Kyler Murray running the ball. And they completely evacuated the premises when it came to that. Now, I said all offseason, if the Cardinals' offense is humming and they're running the ball effectively, don't run with Kyler Murray. But if that's the offensive output you got from the running back room yesterday, and you don't, even an RPO where Kyler Murray takes it, a quarterback draw, a quarterback off tackle, I don't give a rip. Get a trick play in there that gets Kyler Murray the ball in his hand so he can run. 4 for 45 is unacceptable when that's what the offensive state was in the second half. I don't know if that's on Kyler. I don't know if that's on Drew Petzing, but that's a Kyler criticism for me. And then 3, you can't throw that interception. That goes with the jump balls I talked about in the first segment as well. You cannot throw that interception when you're in field goal range. Impossibility. Throwing interceptions in the end zone is how you lose a whole lot of games in the NFL. You can't do it. Double coverage, lob ball. Now, if it's Marvin Harrison Jr. and I think they're on the 32 or 33 yard line, and you see one high safety and you see Trey McBride in the slot, or if you're bunched over there and you have the other receivers run crossing routes to get Marvin Harrison Jr. wide open in a one-on-one, you want to throw that ball, fine. You take the opportunity there. But if they're too high, or if there's a spy just lurking, waiting for Kyler Murray to make a mistake, you cannot throw that ball. That is a momentum killer after getting three going into half. Opening possession to double dip and get points at the end of the half and the first drive in the third. Throwing interception is unacceptable. He knows better. But that goes back to the camaraderie on the field between he and Marvin Harrison Jr. that is still prenatal. It hasn't even been born yet. They're just playing off field because they're both really good players at their given position. Somebody mentioned DeAndre Hopkins because I said it takes time. It takes years to build that trust on timing routes. Not only, back shoulder throws on the sideline, but these go routes where he just hucks it. It's going to take time. And somebody said, well, what about DeAndre Hopkins? He made it. I'm like, those are two elite players making the best out of, first of all, Kliff Kingsbury's route tree for DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins being a top 15 wide receiver still in the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't there yet. One game as a wide receiver, who would I rather have right now on the sidelines for the Cardinals? DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Famer. Should be. Marvin Harrison Jr. has the runway to be better than DeAndre Hopkins. He's played 3 NFL games. It's going to take some time for Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. to get on the same page. And once they do that with those routes, they're going to be unstoppable. It's going to be a laughing cheat code for the Cardinals. They're not close to being there yet. In summation, Kyler Murray cannot throw that interception. The amount of time it'll take for he and Marvin Harrison Jr. to get on the same page, to be able to do it in their sleep, is going to take more than 12 NFL quarters. And he's throwing the ball like they're already there. I think that's going to be the biggest self-edit for Kyler Murray when he watches film this week is, you know what? Let's get Marvin Harrison Jr. different targets. Let's get Marvin Harrison Jr. targets where he has leverage, he has the ability to go get it, but it's also so safe that there's no way an interception can be thrown. And then the Arizona Cardinals can look back into what their offensive scheme is. And that's when you can see a shift from run heavy to pass heavy in a way that is safe, devoid of interception-worthy throws, and keeping opposing defenses so far back on their heels that the run game will have no other option but to eat. And that's something that the Cardinals need to figure out, and it's going to take longer than 3 games. Alex Clancy, Locked on Cardinals. Remember, without you, there is no me. I will talk to you.